Hey, welcome back to The Explainer. You know, we're always looking for ways to measure success, right? Especially in the nonprofit world. But what if I told you there might be a simple formula for it? A formula for happiness. Today, we're going to break down a really cool idea that tries to do just that. So let's start with a really big question. And if you're in the nonprofit sector, this one might, well, it might hit you right where you live. Can a nonprofit actually be happy? And I don't mean just, hitting your funding targets or surviving another year. I mean truly, deeply flourishing. It's this feeling that's so hard to put your finger on, but you know it when you see it, or when you don't. Okay, so where does this whole idea come from? Well, our story actually starts in the world of psychology. A researcher named Sonia Lyubomirsky came up with this really elegant formula for people, for personal happiness. It's H equals S plus C plus B. Basically, your happiness, H, is a mix of your genetic set point, S, your life circumstances, C, and your intentional behavior, B. Simple, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. Look at this breakdown. The research suggests that a huge 50% of our happiness is just our genetic lottery. It's our built-in set point. And only 10%, just 10%, is based on our circumstances. The job, the car, the salary, all the stuff we usually chase. But look at that last slice. A whopping 40% comes from our intentional activities, the things we choose to do every day. That number, 40%, that's the magic number. You're going to want to hang on to that one. All right, so we've got this awesome, super insightful model for how people can be happy. So what's the problem? Well, here's the twist. Someone took this brilliant idea and tried to make it fit the corporate world. And let me tell you, what they ended up with is a version that just does not work for nonprofits at all. See, this corporate version, it was built using data from things like 10K reports and ESG filings. It's all about financial performance, market share, profitability. You get the idea. So when you try to jam a mission-driven organization into that box, well, it's the classic square peg in a round hole. It's not just a bad fit, it fundamentally misses the point. So let's look at why this is such a disaster, letter by letter. Let's start with H, for happiness. In the corporate world, what does H mean? It means success, profitability, financial health. But for a nonprofit, H has to be about mission impact. Right off the bat, we're talking about two completely different universes. Okay, next up, S for set point. The corporate guys saw this as their corporate DNA. Things like patents, competitive advantage, market share, things that are kind of fixed. But a nonprofit's DNA, that's its mission, its culture, the trust it's earned in the community. It's not about market position, it's about purpose. And the disconnect just keeps on coming with C for circumstances. For a business, C is about market dynamics, liquidity, the competitive landscape. But for a nonprofit, your circumstances are the funding trends, the ever-changing needs of your community, the regulatory hoops you have to jump through. Totally different worlds. And finally, we get to B for behavior, or what I like to call intentional activities. In the corporate formula, B is all about strategic investments, spending on R&D or marketing to make more money. Simple. But in the nonprofit world, B is the actual work. It's delivering your programs, fundraising to make an impact, not a profit, and advocating for real change. All right. It's pretty clear that the corporate model is a total bust for our purposes. So, you know what? Let's just toss it. Let's start over. It's time to rebuild this formula from scratch. But this time, we're going to build it for the unique world, the heart and soul of a nonprofit. So in our new and improved nonprofit formula, what does H stand for? Well, it's definitely not profit. It's something so much deeper, so much more meaningful. It's holistic well-being. And that's about both how healthy you are on the inside and the impact you're making on the outside. So what does that actually mean, holistic well-being? Well, think of it as a three-legged stool. First, are you actually achieving your mission and having a real social impact? Second, is your organization healthy and sustainable for the long haul? And third, are your stakeholders happy? And by that, I mean everyone, your beneficiaries, your staff, your donors, the whole community. Okay, on to S. Now remember, in the old model, S was like a fixed genetic code. But here in our nonprofit version, S is your foundational mission. It's the bedrock of everything you do. And this is so important. Your foundational mission isn't static. It's a living, breathing asset. It's your clear purpose, your strong culture, your reputation, and the trust people have in you. It's even your core program model, what some people call your theory of change. And the best part is, you can actively strengthen all of these things. All right, let's keep building. Next up is C. And for a nonprofit, C isn't just about the market, it's your entire operating environment. It's everything going on around you and inside you.
Yeah, think of it as having two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got all the external stuff, the funding landscape, what your community needs, who your partners are. On the other side, you've got your internal reality, your financial health, your staff's capacity, your tech infrastructure. It's basically the hand you're dealt and how ready you are to play it.
And that brings us to my favorite letter, the most powerful piece of this entire puzzle, B. Because just like in that original personal happiness formula, this is where you have the most agency, the most control. For us, B stands for strategic actions. This is the engine that drives everything. It's your program planning and delivery, it's your fundraising and how you develop your resources, it's how you engage your stakeholders and advocate for your cause. But, and this is absolutely crucial, it also includes evaluation and learning. It's not just about doing the work, it's about learning from it so you can do it better tomorrow. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but it's just a theory, right? How do I actually use this? Well, that is the best part. You don't have to go out and invent a bunch of new tools. The tools you need to make this actionable, they already exist. It really boils down to a simple two-step process. Step 1, you've got to clearly define your H, your holistic well-being and impact. A theory of change is a perfect way to do that. It's basically your North Star. And then step 2, you diagnose your S, C, and B, all that foundational and operational stuff, using an existing assessment tool that tells you where you are right now. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. This is where it all clicks into place. Our rebuilt formula maps perfectly onto a really well-respected tool that many of you might already know, the Organizational Capacity Assessment Tool, or OCAT. I mean, just look at how beautifully this lines up. Your S, your foundational mission, that's your leadership capacity in the OCAT. Your C, your operating environment, that's management and community engagement. And your B, your strategic actions, that's your service and evaluative capacity. The whole thing just fits. The formula gives you the why and the tool gives you the how. So, let's bring this all home. After we've torn down the old model and built this new one, what's the one big thing I want you to take away from all this? What's the bottom line for every single person listening who's part of the nonprofit world? It's this. Nonprofit happiness, it's never, ever going to be about profit. It's about achieving your mission in a way that's both effective and sustainable. It's about thriving, not just surviving. And this framework, it's not just a nice idea. It gives you a new way to see your organization. And even better, it points you to the practical tools you need to measure what actually leads to that success. And that brings me to one last question for you to chew on. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Remember that 40%? The huge slice of personal happiness that comes from our intentional choices? So I want you to think about your organization right now. What percentage of your success, your impact, your happiness is being driven by your intentional, strategic actions? Are you putting your energy there? Is it more than 40%? That's a question I think is worth taking back to your team.